Have you ever wondered why some people walk through storms and still remain peaceful, while others lose sleep over the smallest things? The difference isn't luck, it isn't money, and it isn't an easier life. According to the Buddha, the real reason lies in something much deeper, the way the mind sees the world. And once you understand this, the way you experience life may never be the same again. There are people who walk through life with a very gentle smile, not because they have never experienced pain, not because they have never lost anything, and not because life has been easier for them than for others. Yet, somewhere deep within their hearts, there seems to be a quiet stability, something calm, steady, and very difficult to shake.
Meanwhile, there are also people who live with everything they need. They have enough food, enough comfort, people around them, yet their hearts always feel heavy. A small problem can ruin their entire day. A careless remark can keep them awake at night. A tiny change can fill them with worry for hours. We are all living the same human life. We all pass through birth, aging, illness, and death. We all experience gain and loss, meeting and separation, joy and sorrow. So why do some people live with peace, while others remain trapped in suffering? The Buddha taught that the root of this difference is not in circumstances. It lies in how our mind looks at those circumstances. This is a very profound teaching, because most people believe something like this: if life becomes easier, I will finally be happy.
If people understand me more, I will feel peaceful. If work becomes less stressful, if my family becomes less complicated, if I have more money, if the things I want finally happen, then I will feel lighter. But the Buddha pointed out something very important. True happiness does not wait for the outside world to change. If the mind is not at peace, no matter how many times circumstances improve, a person will still feel something is missing, still feel it is not enough. Thinking optimistically according to the Buddha's teachings does not mean pretending that life has no suffering. True optimism means seeing suffering clearly, but not letting suffering control the mind. When we see clearly, we panic less. When we understand deeply, we resist less. And when we stop fighting reality, the mind finally finds a place to rest. The mind is the master.
Just a single thought arising in the mind can make an entire day feel heavy. But just one moment of awareness can begin to dissolve a deep sadness. If someone constantly believes they are unlucky, unloved, or treated unfairly, slowly the entire world begins to appear gray. Not because the world has changed, but because the mind has covered it with the fog of suffering. But when we learn to return to ourselves, to observe our emotions, and to see events with understanding instead of reaction, something changes. Even if life does not become easier, our heart becomes lighter. According to the Buddha, a practitioner is not someone who runs away from life. It is not someone who fears suffering and escapes into silence. A practitioner is someone who learns to live in the middle of a changing world, without letting the storms of the world carry their mind away. That is difficult, and that is also very precious, because life will always give us reasons to feel uneasy.
We want others to understand us. We want our loved ones to behave the way we hope. We want our work to go smoothly. We want our efforts to produce results. We want life to be fair. But the more we cling to these expectations, the heavier the mind becomes. The Buddha did not teach people to abandon their dreams. He did not teach us to stop trying. What he taught was letting go of attachment. These are two very different things. We can still have dreams. We can still work hard. We can still live responsibly and sincerely. But we should not allow outcomes to determine whether we deserve happiness. Because if happiness always depends on conditions, it will remain far away. Many people spend their lives chasing success, thinking that just one more achievement, one more step forward, one more recognition will finally satisfy them. But in the end, what they long for most is often something very simple: a peaceful meal, a deep sleep without worry, a day where the heart feels light. The Buddha taught that happiness does not always come from having more. Often, it comes from letting go of more.
Less greed, the heart becomes lighter. Less anger, the mind becomes softer. Less confusion, wisdom becomes clearer. And slowly, peace begins to grow. When a person begins to see life with optimism according to the Buddhist teachings, life does not suddenly become easy. Difficulties still exist, challenges still appear, things still happen that we do not wish for. But one important change begins to happen. The mind is no longer carried away by every event. The Buddha taught that suffering does not come entirely from circumstances. The deepest suffering often comes from how we respond to those circumstances. Two people can experience the same difficulty, yet one person may spend years blaming life, feeling bitter and angry, while the other quietly reflects, understands the situation, and continues walking forward calmly. The situation may be the same, but the mind is different, and the condition of the mind determines whether life becomes a prison or a lesson. Optimism in Buddhist wisdom is not forcing ourselves to think positively. Instead, it means seeing reality clearly and accepting it with wisdom. When the mind becomes calm, clarity appears. No one lives without failure, but every experience can become a lesson if we observe it with mindfulness. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" we can ask, "What is this teaching me?"
Just changing this one question changes the direction of the mind, from resentment to reflection, from despair to growth, from victimhood to understanding. Sometimes loss teaches us appreciation. Sometimes failure teaches humility. Sometimes rejection shows us that a closed door is guiding us somewhere else. And sometimes pain itself becomes the moment that brings us back to ourselves. In every human life, one of the greatest sources of suffering often comes from relationships with other people. We feel hurt by careless words. We feel pain when someone becomes distant. We suffer when someone we trusted becomes indifferent. Sometimes a single sentence can stay in the heart for years. Sometimes a relationship we tried so hard to protect still falls apart. When this happens, a familiar feeling begins to grow: resentment. We believe someone has wronged us. We believe we have been treated unfairly. And slowly, layers of heavy emotions begin to gather in the heart. But the Buddha taught something very deep. Suffering does not truly come from other people. It comes from how we hold what they did inside our mind. A word can become a wound if the mind is fragile, but the same word can pass like a breeze if the mind is steady.
This does not mean the other person is right. It means our inner stability determines whether pain remains. The Buddha's teaching of compassion does not mean tolerating injustice. It means understanding deeply and letting go wisely. Because holding on to anger is like holding a burning coal to throw at someone else. The first person burned is the one holding the coal. When we carry resentment, the other person may have forgotten the event long ago. But inside our own mind, the story continues repeating. Letting go of resentment does not mean the other person wins. Letting go means we become free. A peaceful life is not a life without difficult people. It is a life where those difficulties do not remain inside the heart too long. We meet them, we learn from them, and then we let them pass. Because if we keep every wound, every disappointment, every painful memory, there will be no room left in the heart for peace. Forgiveness in the Buddhist teaching does not mean erasing memory. It means refusing to let the past control the present. We still remember, but we remember with wisdom, not with wounds. And slowly, the heart becomes lighter again.
There is another place where human suffering quietly hides, not in the present moment, not even in the people around us, but deep inside the memories we carry from the past. Many people are not truly living today. Their bodies may be here, but their minds are still walking through yesterday. A painful memory, a mistake they cannot forgive themselves for, a relationship that ended, a moment they wish they could undo. Again and again, the mind returns to that place. What if I had done something different? What if I had said something else? What if that moment never happened? But the Buddha taught something very simple and very profound. The past is gone. No matter how many times we replay it in our minds, no matter how many nights we lie awake thinking about it, no matter how deeply we regret it, the past will never return to be changed. Yet many people unknowingly tie their hearts to it. The Buddha once compared this to a person carrying a heavy bag of stones. Each stone represents a memory, a regret, a disappointment, a loss. At first, the bag may feel light, but as the years pass, more and more stones are added, and eventually the person wonders why life feels so exhausting, why every step feels heavier than before. It is not because the road has become harder, it is because the heart is carrying too much. The Buddha did not teach people to forget the past. Forgetting is not wisdom. Instead, he taught us to look at the past with understanding. When we look back with attachment, the past becomes a wound. But when we look back with wisdom, the past becomes a teacher. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every loss becomes a reminder of what truly matters. Every painful moment becomes part of our awakening.
The Buddha said something very compassionate about human mistakes. He said that every person who walks this earth will fall at some point. No one lives perfectly. No one goes through life without misunderstanding something, without making the wrong decision, without hurting someone or being hurt. The person who has never fallen is simply the person who has never truly walked. What matters is not whether we fell. What matters is how we stand up afterward. Many people punish themselves endlessly for the past. They carry guilt. They carry shame. They replay the moment again and again in their minds. But the Buddha taught that excessive self-blame does not purify the heart. It only exhausts it. True transformation does not come from self-hatred. It comes from clear seeing.
Seeing what happened, understanding why it happened, learning from it, and then gently placing it down. There are people who live many years trapped in a single sentence, if only. But the Buddha taught that every moment in our past happened under the conditions that existed at that time. In that moment, we did the best we could with the awareness we had. Seeing this clearly softens the heart. Letting go of the past does not mean erasing memory. It means not allowing memory to control the present. We can still remember, but with awareness, not attachment. When the past no longer holds power over the mind, the present moment finally becomes available, and the present moment is where life truly exists. Loss is natural. Love and loss are deeply connected.
But he also taught that understanding the nature of life can prevent grief from turning into despair. The Buddha spoke often about impermanence. Everything in life changes. The body changes. The seasons change. Relationships change. People arrive in our lives.
and one day they must leave. Understanding impermanence does not make us cold. It actually makes us more compassionate. Because when we truly understand that nothing lasts forever, we begin to cherish each moment more deeply. We stop postponing kindness. We stop delaying forgiveness. We stop assuming that tomorrow will always come. Instead, we start to live more gently. When loss happens, the Buddha advised something very important. Do not run away from the pain, but do not drown in it either. Sit with it, breathe with it, observe it, just like muddy water in a jar. If we keep shaking the jar, the water stays cloudy. But if we set it down and allow it to rest, the mud slowly settles, and the water becomes clear again. Pain works the same way. If we resist it, it grows stronger. If we run from it, it follows us. But if we sit with it calmly, the storm inside the heart begins to quiet. Optimism in the Buddhist teachings does not mean denying loss. It means trusting that after pain, life can still continue. After the longest night, morning will still come. But morning only arrives when we are willing to sit patiently with the darkness. A peaceful life is not a life without tears. It is a life where tears do not blind us from the path ahead. We cry, we breathe, and then we slowly walk forward again. There is one truth that every human being must eventually face.
A truth that does not depend on wealth, status, youth, intelligence, or power. It is the truth of impermanence. Everything in this world changes. The body changes. The seasons change. Relationships change. Success and failure change. Even our thoughts and emotions change from moment to moment. Yet many of our deepest fears come from trying to hold on to things that were never meant to stay forever. People fear losing what they love. They fear losing their youth. They fear losing their health. They fear losing their place in the world. They fear losing the people who matter most to them. And because of this fear, they hold tightly to everything. But the Buddha taught that the tighter we hold, the more suffering we create. It is like trying to stop a river with our hands. The harder we try, the more exhausted we become. The river does not stop. Life continues to flow. Impermanence is not something we can escape, but understanding impermanence can completely transform how we live. When we forget that life is constantly changing, we begin to cling. We cling to success. We cling to relationships. We cling to identity. We cling to the idea that things must stay the way they are. And when change inevitably arrives, we feel shocked, even betrayed by life. But when we truly understand impermanence, something very different happens. We stop demanding that life remain stable. We stop expecting people to behave exactly the way we want forever. We stop believing that happiness must depend on circumstances staying perfect. Instead, we begin to live with a quiet awareness. We understand that everything we experience is temporary. A joyful moment is temporary. A painful moment is temporary. Even the greatest achievements are temporary. And strangely, this understanding does not make life empty. It makes life more precious. Because when we know something will not last forever, we begin to appreciate it more deeply. We listen more carefully. We speak more kindly. We forgive more quickly. We love more sincerely. Impermanence teaches us how to treasure the present moment.
Seriously, many people live as if time is endless. They postpone the important things. They delay saying thank you. They delay saying I'm sorry. They delay spending time with the people they love. They assume there will always be another opportunity. But the Buddha reminded us that life is uncertain. The next moment is never guaranteed. This realization is not meant to frighten us. It is meant to awaken us. When we remember that life is fragile,
we begin to live more intentionally. We stop wasting energy on unnecessary anger. We stop carrying resentment that poisons our hearts. We stop fighting battles that do not matter. And slowly, we begin to choose peace over pride. Understanding impermanence also helps us face something many people fear deeply: aging and death.
In many cultures, people avoid thinking about aging and death. They distract themselves and pretend youth will last forever. But the Buddha encouraged us to reflect on these truths, not to become pessimistic, but to become wise. Aging is simply the natural movement of time. Death is part of the cycle of existence. Kings, scholars, warriors, and artists, the rich and the poor alike, must face the same reality. Yet when we understand this, the fear of death softens. We start focusing on how we live now. Are we living with kindness, awareness, and compassion? Or are we chasing things that never satisfy the heart? When people understand impermanence, they simplify their lives. Competition loses its urgency. Instead, a quieter kind of happiness appears, the happiness of enough. Enough food, enough shelter, enough peace, enough love. The Buddha called this contentment. Contentment does not mean giving up on life. It means understanding that happiness does not depend on endless accumulation. A person who always feels they need more will never feel satisfied. More money, more recognition, more success, more approval. The mind that constantly seeks more will never find rest. But the person who understands contentment discovers something beautiful. Even simple things begin to feel meaningful.
A peaceful morning, a warm meal, a quiet walk, a sincere conversation, a moment of gratitude. These small moments become sources of real happiness, because happiness is no longer postponed into the future. It exists right here, right now. The Buddha also taught that letting go does not mean abandoning life. It means living fully without being imprisoned by attachment. We still love people, but we do not try to possess them. We still work hard, but we do not tie our identity to success. We still enjoy life's beauty, but we do not panic when it begins to change.
This is true inner freedom. A person who understands impermanence walks through life differently. They are not constantly afraid. They are not constantly clinging. They move through the world with a softer heart, and when change inevitably comes, they are able to adapt, because they understand that change was always part of the journey. Optimism in the Buddha's teachings is not naive positivity. It is a deep confidence that the mind can remain peaceful even in a changing world. Life will always have storms, but a trained mind can become like the deep ocean. On the surface, waves rise and fall, but deep below, the water remains calm. And the Buddha taught that this calmness is something every human being can cultivate, not through luck, not through wealth, but through awareness, through understanding, through compassion, and through the gentle practice of letting go. If there is one quality that can gently transform the human heart, it is gratitude. The Buddha often reminded his disciples that happiness does not grow from endless desire. It grows from the ability to recognize what is already present. Many people live their entire lives looking forward to the next achievement, forward to the next improvement, forward to the next stage of life where they believe things will finally become better.
I will be happy when my career succeeds. I will be happy when my problems disappear. I will be happy when everything becomes easier. But while the mind is constantly reaching forward, it often overlooks what is already here: the air we breathe, the food that sustains us, the people who quietly care about us, the simple miracle of waking up each morning.
When gratitude is absent, even abundance can feel like scarcity. But when gratitude is present, even small things become meaningful. The Buddha taught that gratitude is not merely a polite feeling, it is a way of seeing the world. When we begin to see life through the lens of appreciation, something remarkable happens. Our attention shifts. Instead of constantly noticing what is missing, we begin to notice what is already given. Instead of focusing on what others have that we lack, we begin to recognize the blessings that already exist in our own lives. And slowly, the heart begins to soften.
Gratitude creates space for peace. It reminds us that life is not only a series of struggles, it is also a series of quiet gifts. A warm sunrise, a moment of laughter, a kind word from a stranger, a peaceful breath taken in silence. These things often pass unnoticed because the mind is busy searching for something bigger. But the Buddha taught that the greatest happiness often hides in the smallest moments. Contentment is closely connected to gratitude. In Buddhist teachings, contentment is not the absence of ambition, it is the absence of restless craving. A content person can still grow, still learn, still work hard, but they do not believe that happiness must always wait for the next achievement. They are able to appreciate life as it is, even while continuing to improve it. Without contentment, the mind becomes like a traveler who never rests, always moving, always chasing, always believing that satisfaction lies somewhere ahead.
But every destination reached simply becomes another starting point for desire. The Buddha observed this pattern long ago. He saw that the human mind can easily become trapped in endless wanting. Wanting more wealth, wanting more recognition, wanting more comfort, wanting more control. Yet even when those desires are fulfilled, the feeling of satisfaction rarely lasts. Soon the mind begins wanting something else. This endless cycle is what the Buddha described as craving, and he taught that craving is one of the roots of suffering. Contentment breaks this cycle. It allows the mind to pause, to breathe, to appreciate what already exists. A person who understands contentment experiences a quiet freedom. They are no longer pushed forward by constant dissatisfaction. They can enjoy success without becoming attached to it. They can accept failure without believing it defines them. They can move through life without constantly measuring themselves against others. Comparison, after all, is another powerful source of suffering. In today's world, comparison happens constantly. People compare careers, compare lifestyles, compare appearances, compare achievements, compare the speed of their progress in life. Neither state brings peace. Both pull the mind away from balance.
The Buddha encouraged a different approach. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we can gently ask, am I growing in understanding? Am I becoming more patient? Am I becoming kinder than I was yesterday? The most meaningful progress is not measured against another person. It is measured against our own past. A mind that becomes slightly calmer today than yesterday has already moved forward. A person who reacts with a little less anger than before has already made progress. These small changes may seem invisible from the outside, but within the heart, they represent real transformation. And transformation often happens quietly, not through dramatic events, but through small daily habits. Every action we repeat becomes a pattern. Over time, these patterns shape the entire landscape of our minds.
This is why mindfulness in everyday life is so important. Mindfulness is simply the practice of being aware of what we are doing while we are doing it. When we walk, we know we are walking. When we eat, we know we are eating. When we speak, we are aware of the words we are choosing. When we feel anger rising, we recognize it before it turns into harmful action. This awareness creates space, a space between stimulus and reaction. Within that space, wisdom can appear. Instead of reacting automatically, we can choose our response. Instead of being controlled by emotions, we can observe them with understanding.
This is how peace grows, not through escape from life, but through deeper presence within it. Everyday activities become opportunities for calm. Drinking tea, washing dishes, walking outside, breathing slowly for a few moments. When done with awareness, even the simplest action can nourish the mind. A peaceful life does not require extraordinary circumstances. It grows from ordinary moments lived with attention. And slowly, the mind becomes more stable, less reactive, more patient, more compassionate. Just as a mountain remains steady through changing weather, a trained mind learns to remain calm through changing experiences. Storms may still come, but they do not shake the foundation of the heart. This is the quiet strength the Buddha wanted people to discover.
As the mind becomes calmer through awareness and understanding, another quality naturally begins to grow. That quality is compassion. Compassion is often misunderstood. Some people think compassion means being weak. Others think it means allowing others to take advantage of us. Some believe compassion means always agreeing or never defending ourselves. But in the Buddhist teaching, compassion is something very different. Compassion is the ability to recognize suffering, both in ourselves and in others, and to respond with understanding instead of hostility. It is a strength of the heart, not a weakness. In fact, compassion requires great courage.
Because when we see suffering clearly, we also see how connected we all are. Every person we meet is carrying something unseen. Someone may appear confident but struggle with insecurity. Someone may appear successful but feel lonely. The Buddha often reminded his disciples that every human being is facing difficulties in ways that are not always visible. When we remember this, something changes in how we see people. Instead of reacting with anger, we begin to pause. Instead of assuming the worst, we begin to wonder what pain might be hidden behind someone's behavior. This does not mean we accept harmful actions, but it means we try to understand the causes behind them. When we respond with calm understanding, the fire slowly begins to lose its fuel.
This is not always easy. Anger can feel powerful. When someone hurts us, our instinct is often to defend ourselves immediately. But reacting in anger often creates more suffering than it resolves. The Buddha compared anger to holding a burning coal with the intention of throwing it at someone else. The one who gets burned first is the one holding the coal. When anger controls the mind, we lose clarity. But mindfulness creates another possibility. Instead of reacting immediately, we pause, we breathe, we observe the feeling rising within us. This pause may last only a few seconds, but those few seconds can change everything.
In that small space, we remember that anger is an emotion passing through the mind. It is not who we are. It is not permanent. It does not need to control our next action. With awareness, anger becomes something we can observe rather than something we must obey. Compassion grows from this awareness. When we understand our own emotions more clearly, we become more patient with the emotions of others. We realize that everyone is learning, everyone is struggling in some way, everyone is imperfect. And slowly, judgment begins to soften. Instead of dividing people into good and bad, we begin to see that human beings are complex. People are shaped by their experiences, by their fears, by their upbringing, by their circumstances. This perspective does not excuse harmful behavior, but it allows us to respond with wisdom rather than hatred.
The Buddha believed that compassion has a powerful ripple effect. When one person acts with patience instead of anger, a cycle of conflict can stop. When one person listens carefully instead of reacting defensively, misunderstanding can dissolve. When one person shows kindness in a difficult moment, tension can transform into connection. Small acts of compassion often create the largest changes. A gentle word, a moment of listening, a sincere apology, a willingness to forgive. These actions may seem simple, but they have the power to heal deep wounds. The Buddha also emphasized compassion toward oneself. Many people are kind to others but harsh toward themselves. They judge their own mistakes severely. They carry guilt long after an error has passed. They believe they must be perfect before they deserve peace. But the Buddha taught that self-compassion is essential for inner growth. When we treat ourselves with patience, we create the conditions for learning. When we forgive ourselves, we free the mind from unnecessary suffering. Just as a gardener cares gently for growing plants, we must care gently for our own hearts.
Growth takes time. Change takes practice. Mistakes are part of the process. The path toward peace is not about becoming flawless. It is about becoming more aware, more compassionate, and more balanced over time. When compassion becomes a natural part of the mind, life begins to feel lighter. Conflicts lose some of their intensity. Grudges fade more quickly, and relationships become more authentic. People feel safe around someone who carries compassion, because compassion creates space for honesty. It creates an atmosphere where understanding can grow. In this way, inner peace does not remain inside one person. It spreads outward. A calm mind influences a conversation. A patient heart influences a family. A compassionate attitude influences a community. The Buddha understood that the transformation of the world begins with the transformation of the mind. Each person who cultivates kindness contributes to a more peaceful world. This is why compassion is not just a personal quality. It is a powerful force that connects human beings together. When we practice compassion, we help reduce suffering not only for ourselves, but also for those around us. And slowly, step by step, the path toward a peaceful life becomes clearer.
As we reflect on the Buddha's teachings about optimism, compassion, and awareness, we begin to see a deeper message emerge. Peace is not something that suddenly appears when life becomes perfect. Peace is something that grows inside the mind, even while life continues to change. The world will always have uncertainty. There will always be moments of success and failure. There will always be praise and criticism. There will always be gain and loss. Yet the Buddha taught that freedom is still possible. Not freedom from life's events, but freedom from being controlled by them. A person who has trained the mind learns how to stand in the middle of changing conditions without losing balance. When success arrives, they enjoy it with gratitude, but do not cling to it. When difficulties appear, they face them with patience rather than despair. This balance is sometimes called equanimity. Equanimity is the quiet stability of the mind. Imagine a tall tree growing beside a river. Strong winds may shake its branches, but its roots remain deep in the ground. Because its foundation is strong, the tree does not fall. In the same way, a mind rooted in wisdom and compassion can remain steady even when life becomes turbulent. Lasting happiness appears through inner understanding. Two people may experience the same situation. One may feel overwhelmed. The other may feel calm. The difference is not the situation itself.
The difference is the condition of the mind. This is why the Buddha focused so much attention on training the mind. Because when the mind becomes clear, everything else begins to change as well. Life's difficulties do not disappear, but our relationship with them transforms. Instead of fighting every challenge, we begin to learn from them. Instead of fearing change, we begin to accept it. Instead of clinging tightly to what we love, we learn how to appreciate it while it is here. And when the time comes to let go, we do so with gratitude rather than desperation. This way of living brings a deep sense of freedom. Freedom from constant anxiety, endless comparison, and the heavy burden of resentment. A person who discovers this freedom does not need extraordinary conditions to feel peaceful. Even ordinary life becomes meaningful. A quiet morning, a mindful breath, a simple meal shared.
These small experiences become sources of genuine joy.
The Buddha described this kind of happiness as inner wealth. Unlike material wealth, it cannot be stolen. Unlike status, it does not depend on public approval. Unlike temporary pleasure, it does not disappear quickly. Inner wealth grows through wisdom, compassion, and awareness. And once it begins to grow, it continues expanding naturally. A person with inner peace becomes a source of peace for others. Their calm presence can comfort those around them. Their patience can reduce conflict. Their kindness can inspire hope. In this way, personal transformation gradually spreads outward. Families become more harmonious. Communities become more understanding. Even small acts of kindness can influence the world in ways we cannot immediately see. The Buddha believed that every human being has the capacity to awaken this peaceful state of mind. It is not reserved for monks or spiritual leaders. It is available to anyone willing to cultivate awareness. Anyone willing to observe their thoughts and choose compassion instead of anger can embark on this journey. It does not require perfection, only sincerity and consistency. Every day offers an opportunity to practice. Each breath can be a reminder to return to the present moment. Each challenge can become a teacher. Step by step, the path becomes clearer and the heart becomes lighter. The Buddha's message is a deep confidence in the mind's ability to transform. Even when life becomes difficult or the world feels uncertain, the human heart still holds the potential for peace. Because peace does not come from controlling the outside world. It comes from understanding the inner one. When the mind learns to let go of unnecessary burdens, happiness begins to unfold within us. This is the path the Buddha pointed toward, a life lived with awareness, compassion, and gratitude. One breath, one step, one moment of awareness at a time.